My name's Adam Manaka and I'm the Financial Controller for High Tech Oils. With our national capacity, we can now service Australian companies nationwide. Of late, we have now expanded into the New Zealand market. Here at High Tech Oils, we receive premium base oils and premium additive packs. Together, with our highly trained staff, we manufacture over 500 premium quality products. High Tech Oils is Australian made and Australian owned.
On today's show, we head to Sydney Motorsport Park for the final round of the 2016 Shannons Nationals, featuring the Australian Sports Racer Series and the Kerrick Sports Sedans. Then we head north to Queensland Raceway for our continued Round 5 coverage of the Swan Insurance Australasian Superbike Championship, featuring the Supersports and the Stars of Tomorrow. This is Speedweek. It's been an action-packed year of motor racing, a year full of drama and excitement both on and off the track. And the 2016 edition of the Shannons Australian Motor Racing Nationals is set to wrap up in only the way it knows how. Today's edition is a mixture of pure aero and sheer grunt. The Australian Sports Racer Series round out their highly entertaining season with a championship up for grabs. And although Tony Ricciardello has already wrapped up the Kerrick Sports Sedan Series for a record-breaking 10th time, there's still the battle for bragging rights in their final round. From Sydney Motorsport Park, welcome to the final round of the 2016 Shannons Nationals. Hi everyone, welcome to Sydney Motorsport Park, the final round of the 2016 Shannons Australian Motor Racing Nationals. Richard Craill and Chad Nailon with you. It's always a good place to go racing, this one.
Yeah, we love this venue, and as you quite well aptly put in your Penrite preview, Craill, it's like the season finale of a TV show. Lots of storylines to play out here this weekend.
Championships to be decided, some big endurance racing. There's so much to follow this weekend in Sydney. Coming into the final round this weekend, Roger Jansen has an almost insurmountable lead over rival Peter Johnston. With 2 races left in the season, Johnston will have to pull out all the stops to take the crown.
I think we had a few little issues in Phillip Island, but yeah, we got through it all, a few little car issues, and sometimes just yourself, you're not on the pace. Well, the points, we're 30 points behind at the moment. Roger's had a fantastic year and been winning a whole lot and winning his class, so we've been fortunate enough just to be consistent, so all we can do is just wait and see what happens this weekend. Roger's been quicker all year than us, okay, in the outright standing, so we basically have to just be consistent, win our class, and just see what happens with Roger. If Roger fails for some reason or something goes wrong with the car, we're in with a chance, but at this stage we just have to wait and see.
We come into the final round with a 30-point lead, which is about a race win. So basically we just need a solid weekend and we should be able to wrap it up. So yeah, the aim of this weekend will be make sure we can get some consistent points throughout the weekend to keep that buffer. Won a few karting ones, but no circuit racing ones. So yeah, I'm pretty excited about it to hopefully try and get there. We got really close back in 2014, but had a few issues in the final race. So hopefully this year we can make up for 2014. We'll attack this weekend like we have all the others. You know, we come here to race to win, so we'll try and do our best for the round to try and get the victory, and that will take care of the championship itself. If we have problems and we don't win it, well, that's just another learning experience, isn't it?
So the Australian Sports Racer Series cars rolling out to Sydney Motorsport Park. It's the final round of the year for this great little category. Open-top sports cars and open wheelers powered by screaming motorcycle engines. There's some radicals thrown in as well, Chad Nailon. Championship calculations this weekend. Roger Jansen basically has it shot to pieces ahead of race 1 of the weekend, but the fight's on for the minors. Johnston, John Paul Drake, Pia Vetis and even John Morris, mathematical contention for second outright this year.
Well, that's right, and you get 38 points for a race win, so when you consider those sorts of numbers, you can throw a blanket over second right down to about 6. There's a lot on the line here this weekend, and that championship picture was a little bit clearer after the first race.
It sure was, Chad. Not only did Roger Jansen finish second in race 1, but he also sealed the championship with that result. It was a terrific performance. Mark Lauke won the race, the defending champion, but the big story was Roger Jansen finally sealed that title after 3 years of trying. It was a great result for the Privateer SA team.
And with that out of the way now, he can just focus on these last 2 races. He's in a great grid spot off the outside of row 1. Keep an eye out for our American visitor here this weekend in Glenn Cooper. He starts on the outside of row 3. As we get set to go racing, rolling start, Peter Johnston lining up and getting ready to have a good crack. That's a huge start from the outside of row 1 by Roger Jansen.
And there is Glenn Cooper on the outside, American driver, Aussie flag on his F1000 racer. So the wings and slicks in with the sports racer field. They scream their way up to turn 2. That's Mark Lauke going down the inside there in the Lauke Flour Mills car. Defending champion is wrestling second place away from the American.
Just about 3 wide, and Johnston having to be so patient as 3 drivers get by up the inside. He started outside row 2, had a really good run initially, but just got hung out to dry through the opening left-handers. It's tight down at turn 4.
Josh Cranston applying the pressure. Phil Hughes, the Victorian, in his Radical SR3, has been an enormous improver this year and having a sensational weekend. There's Peter Johnston just in behind the number 27 LMP4, and Johnston goes round. Turn 6, back of Corporate Hill.
Lost the noise there for a moment too, Krause. The field skipping away on the other side of the hill while he is trying to pick up the pieces. Here is our American visitor.
Just a case of cold tyres, I think that on the opening lap. They just get the 1 formation lap as Cooper runs very wide on the exit. And that concrete apron, the top of the start-finish straight, and he's under big pressure from the SR3 Radical of Phil Hughes. Here's Jansen, newly crowned champion. 2 races to go to enjoy himself, and a great view looking back at the man from the Riverland in South Australia, up there on the River Murray. And he's got Mark Lauke just behind him. Lauke with a great run through turn 1.
Had a bit of a peek to the inside at turn 2, so we've got a good battle here for the lead. These are the 2 fastest drivers earlier today, battling it out at the front for race 1. Actually saw him reach up towards his helmet just as he tipped it into turn 1 there on the left-hand side of his visor. Strange, he's not running tear-offs here, so I'm not too sure what he was actually searching for. So the battle for the lead is absolutely alive through turn 5.
Yeah, Lauke driving really well. His car, a slightly later Model West sports race car. As we go back and have a look at the start, this is Johnston. How good was Cooper with a slingshot from the 3rd row? Fired himself into 2nd place. Cranston just in front, and Johnson was caught out wide here at turn 1. Had a couple of other cars to go through, including Phil Hughes, who made it 3 wide up there.
We did see just how aggressive Lauke was getting up there into 2nd, but Johnston just got pushed wider and wider. You'll see 3 cars disappear by him as he had to be very patient out on that curb at the exit of turn 2, and this was the spin later in the lap for him. It went from bad to worse.
Adam Cranston back in the series this weekend in the West LMP4 with that camo livery. Here's Terry Piavitas, another one of the F1000 runners down the inside of Cranston. Bit of cold tide graining on that right rear.
Oh,
Lauke, turn 1. How did he catch that?
What a save. What a save. It'll pretty much mean that the result of this race is a foregone conclusion, but that was something else. That was proper sideways, and he gathered it back up. He's going to pull it off at turn 2.
I think he's probably just too rattled to continue. I think his head's still shaking in his helmet. What a moment. Check this out.
Fastest corner that we race on here.
Oh, he was lucky there's a little bit of an incline in that grass verge on the inside. Otherwise, he would have speared across to that inside wall. And a great bit of driving. Just caught the rear of the car before it went around completely at a 200 km/h corner. And with the aero and the downforce that these cars have got, Chad, they're flat through there. They don't lift. So what a save. Catch of the day in the final round of the Shannons Nationals.
Oh,
Why
that's
not?
aggressive. That's very aggressive. Glenn Cooper, our American visitor, not keen on making friends here in his short time down under. Just bowls Cranston out wide down there at turn 2.
That won't help Cranston. He's one of those drivers we talked about at the start of the show, fighting for second in the championship. It was a big lunge. He was down the inside, but so was Cranston's car. He was already parked there turning into turn 2. Fortunately, doesn't look like there's any damage to the Aventus RFR 1000 sports racer. Phil Hughes, meanwhile, going along very nicely in his Radical SR3. It's one of the oldest cars in the field, this car, and he bought it with an old mate of his, the late, great Alan Simonson was a co-owner. Phil was his mechanic in GT racing. They bought that car in partnership, and after we tragically lost Alan a couple of years ago, Phil decided that he was time to go racing and drive that car. Great story. And those two F1000 swap positions again on the run down into turn one. I think there might be a little bit of a damage to Cooper's car. That's a car that Josh Townsend, the Queenslander, has raced in the Australian Sports Racer Series for the last couple of years.
That front wing of Cranston's rattling around as well. He's actually doing that before they had that moment down at turn two. But he did get him back. I'd be surprised if Cooper's really struggling to get that car turned in after that initial contact. Cranston's chance here to try and chase down second in the race. Philip Hughes going through turn 5. And remember, these are all points that Cranston desperately needs, trying to pull his way up to second in the championship. Came in pretty much outside the top 5 in the points hunt, so it's a pretty epic battle for that second place now that Roger Jansen has it wrapped up.
And helped by the fact that Peter Johnston had that drama early in the race and is a long way down the field relative to where Cranston is, so it'll be a big point swing towards the way of the professional firefighter is Mr. Cranston. So to his brother, great to see his brother back in the field. Meanwhile, great run out of the hairpin. Little F1000 got the toe from the big Radical, punches a big hole in the air, and the Aventus racing car was able to slip through and grab the spot. He's P2 now. Jansen a long way up the road, but this is all good championship points for Josh Cranston. Here's his rival for second in the championship, Peter Johnston, who's racing with Cranston's brother. And there's contact and more dramas for one of the contenders.
He was really slow coming out of the corner then, Adam Cranston. Much slower than he would have been anticipating there, Peter Johnston, and tried to get out of the way, but just misjudged it. Didn't want to lift because he didn't want to lose the momentum and not be able to make the pass. Missed it by a good foot or so, and it resulted in the contact. So just here, actually did lift. He thought he might be able to get around the side.
Just slightly misjudged it, didn't he, Chad? Really close to pulling out in time. Quite a sizable hit. Damage to the rear aero of the Cranston West LMP4. Whack. And Pete just misjudged that slightly. And unfortunately, he's got damage. Cranston's got damage. And they're both further down the field. And that's another blow to the aspiration for second in the championship for Peter Johnston. It really will go down to the final race of the season now. Jansen locked away out in front. Last lap of the race. This is Terry Piavitas in the RFR 1000 West Race Cars F1000 entry.
Piavitas on for fourth position here. Phil Hughes a bit further up the road, so he's got around Glenn Cooper. Cooper's potentially damaged steering, seeing him drop back to fifth at the moment for the American. So Jansen still comfortably leading, but we're going to have a pretty good showdown here at the end here for second in the points. Here he comes to wrap up the race. Champion-elect with not long left in 2016.
Well, this does wonders for Josh Cranston's fight for second in the series, and that will go down to the final race. Meanwhile, this guy untroubled out in front after Lauke spun out. He lost the championship in controversial circumstances a couple of years ago after an amazing title fight with Adam Proctor. He's wrapped it all up this year, and now he's just wrapping it off, putting a bow on the present that is his 2016 gift. And a couple of wins to end the year. Nice drive, Roger Jansen.
That's the fist pumping from Philip Hughes.
He's third place. He will be stoked with that. Really good drive by the Victorian in the Radical SR3. Finished behind Josh Cranston, in front of Terry Piavitas. Glenn Cooper was fifth. Peter Johnston in sixth place. Greg Steer and Mark Lauke completed the top 8. A break from Sydney Motorsport Park, the final race of the Australian Sports Racer Series year, coming up right after this.
Sydney Motorsport Park, and here we go for the final race of the Australian Sports Racer Series for 2016. We know who is the champion, but there is still the little matter of who's going to be runner-up, and it's still very much hotly contested coming into this final race of the weekend?
There's a fair bit of pressure, Chad, on Josh Cranston. He needs to finish as high up in the order as he possibly can to try and wrestle second in the championship away from Peter Johnston. That's the equation. It's pretty simple for him. Johnston, meanwhile, needs to have a much smarter run, perhaps, than what we saw in race 2. It was a difficult race for him. Contact with the back of the LMP4 West, and that saw him in real strife. So we're set to go. Final race of the sports racing year. Ianson and Cranston on the front row. Hughes, who was so delighted with third in race 2, starts this one from the same spot. Then Terry Piavitas and the American Glenn Cooper. So rolling start, as always, in the sports racing series. Here's Peter Johnston. He's got some work to do. We're underway for the final race of the year, and immediately goes right to the yellow line, the inside of turn 1 and down the inside of Phil Hughes. So that's a good start for Johnston. Took the advantage early and got it done.
Like a good late cut, that was premeditated. He had that one in mind right from the beginning, and now he wants the inside. So he's learned from earlier. He got hung up to dry in race 2 by being on the outside of both turns 1 and turn 2. Got it sorted this time, didn't he? Wanted the inside line, he took it, and that's put him in the perfect position. A good tactic and well executed for Peter Johnston.
We're on board the Radical SR3. He's got a lot of experience at this place. The Radical Australia Cup, based out of Sydney Motorsport Park. Pete's done a lot of racing in that, so he knows his way around these 3.93 kilometres. He's now P4. A lot of the exit road, they are monitoring curb use on the outside of turn 5. Not a great start for Cranston, it must be said. You can see the Aventus F1000 there. He's just in front of his brother, Terry Piavitas, in third. Mark Lauke is second.
Man, Roger Jansen has checked out as we follow the battle for second now, which includes Peter Johnston, part of this championship equation. Lauke looking good at the moment after another strong start.
Roger's got great cold tyre pace in this car, has had all season long. He and his dad Ken run the family operation, drive the car to every round on the back of their trailer towed by their family car, and it's a real family affair for those guys. They've put so much into their racing over the years, and it's great to see them get a reward, and if he can bring it home with the final race win of the season, that will be even better. But this guy's got some pressure on. He's second in the championship, but he is under pressure, and he's got some tow and an assist from Piavitas in the F1000 car in front. Oh, wow.
Again, that was close. Mid-corner speed was supreme. He gets the job done up the inside at turn 2. Barely even a feathering of the throttle through that very fast first corner.
And Piavitas will try and fight back now, but he's going to have to stay as close as he can to the Radical. The Radical punches a big hole in the air, so the little nimble F1000 car should be able to take advantage of that. But Cranston now looks like he's just behind these two. He is. And his F1000 driving teammate might be able to help him out here. I love these little F1000 cars. It's cool to see them racing with the bigger Radicals and sports racers, the Wests that make up this field.
That was a plan. He knew exactly what he was doing there as we check out the replay at the start. Peter Johnston swinging over to the left-hand side, learning from what happened to him in that first one. There he goes, over the inside.
Piavitas a good start too. Phil Hughes not so. Lost a bunch of spots. You can see that red and yellow Radical go backwards through the field, but what a good start from Piavitas. And this was that move. Oh. You could hear he just feather the throttle to make sure there was no contact. You saw what happened in race 2. He did go quite deep there, didn't he? You could hear the rears locking as he went down through the gears. And now Cranston up behind Piavitas as they go through turn 1. And goes past him at turn 1. Good move.
That is brave. It'll bring Adam Cranston into the mix now. This is a fairly unusual set of circumstances we've got.
Contact. The brothers get into each other. Whoa, it's a family affair, motor racing. And that might be an awkward debrief.
Piavitas had to avoid the family skirmish down there at turn 2. Cost himself some time. And that'll just about give Peter Johnston second in the points here.
Wow. So Adam Cranston goes down the inside of his brother Josh, makes
sure
contact.
Josh knew he was there.
No, I don't think he did. He did come from a long way back though, Adam. And this is Piavitas, who remember had lost that spot through turn 1. It's a great move from Cranston.
Oh, yeah. So
I don't know, Chad. I reckon that camera angle probably tells it more than the other one, because you could see how late the LMP4 West was diving up the inside.
I think Josh Cranston was just so busy watching where Piavitas was coming on the outside that he forgot to look for his brother up the inside. Anyway, we're still racing. Piavitas now going to war with Adam Cranston.
Wow, and Josh has somehow managed to get himself back in front of all this group, despite being turned around. So this has been a really good drive for Josh Cranston.
He needs to get his way up to second, and that's going to be a tough ask because Mark Lauke's kind of checked out, trying to follow the pace of Roger Jansen. Needs a bit more luck yet, is Josh Cranston.
Here's Piavides. He's got a good tow from the West LMP4 in front. Brand new car from that Adelaide manufacturer. Setting up operations. Great new factory building these cars. Very, very fast thing. And you can see in a straight line how effective it is. He pulled the way through turn one. A lot of underbody aero on these cars. They are basically a mini Le Mans prototype. They're very, very cool cars.
Oh, that's another
wow.
huge moment. And he's going to get the inside wall. Just. That was a rapid spin through turn three. You're lucky to get away with that one.
Adam has had a baptism of fire back in the car. Remember, he was the one sent skyward at Queensland Raceway earlier this year. So just ran wide. You see so many people do that at turn three, and really lucky not to hit the concrete wall and just gently back the car into the tyres on the outside.
Didn't Piavides see that one coming? Read that like a book. Had his car positioned nicely over to the right-hand side to miss the spinning little sports racer. This was a huge moment. There he goes.
Oh, wow.
That is a well-placed tyre wall as well. I know he only just edged it, but you can have a huge crash there when you get the inside fence. Same up at turn 5. There's a big concrete wall there that you can find. Same goes through here as well, turn 1. You just don't have small accidents here. It's kind of like Phillip Island in a respect. It's fast and unforgiving. It's the kind of racetrack that drivers love racing on for that very reason.
Piavides has had a wild old day, hasn't he? He's seen every incident that's occurred, but hasn't been in any of them. Got held up a little bit up at turn 2 a couple of laps ago, but otherwise he's been in remarkably good form in this, and now he's up behind
Phil Hughes.
He's in an incident now, and the Victorian goes spinning.
Well, Phillip Hughes was moving around on the racing line a bit then. He looked like he wanted the inside, then he moved back over the outside. That doesn't excuse Piavides of any responsibility though, but that car of Hughes was definitely moving around before it got to that turn 4 corner. Tough one to call, really.
Yeah, it is. That's really difficult. This might tell us a little bit more.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. It's a late move over
He went
the
early.
braking area.
Yeah, interesting.
That doesn't mean you can just turn the car around though, but Piavides would have been trying to get that thing pulled up before contact was made.
I've decided I'm going to leave that one to race control. That's a bit beyond me.
Two dudes fighting hard. That's what it's about.
Absolutely.
That's what we love these cars. That's what we love this track. There are passing opportunities. Sometimes you just get crossed up.
But to overtake here, you have to be fully committed too, don't you? You need to make the move. As we speak of making moves, watch Peter Johnston fighting with Mark Lauke, defending champion in the Australian Sports Racer Series.
Now Cranston can get this done here. This is for second in the championship.
Sails around the outside. So Johnston, with a little bit of a hip and shoulder, they'll go side by side now. So Johnston is in front in the championship. He is currently second. Cranston needs to get past him, and he needs to get past Mark Lauke. If he gets past Lauke, he's going to be a shot at P2 in the series. That's the maths. Johnston needs to stop that from happening. So this is properly on in the closing laps of the season.
Well, you know how Johnston can stop Cranston from passing Lauke?
Past Lauke.
Yeah, exactly. So this is a very important battle.
Good scrap.
With a lot fighting, a lot riding on it. Turn 9. It's a fairly defensive line, that one from Lauke through the hairpin.
Yeah, but he covered his line early, so that's legit. And Johnston in almost a replay of what happened in race 2, and now Cranston's up the inside, so had to get out of the throttle a little bit, and the little F1000 goes by.
Good fight. Good race.
This is good stuff. So his focus is now on Mark Lauke. He's got to get past the South Australian, and if he can do that, he might be a sniff at second in the championship. This is a really good fight, and he's got a really good toe here as well. The F1000s are good in a straight line in the toe. They don't have the mid-corner aero, but they're quicker in a straight line. Look at the front wing flapping around on that thing. Has had a few hits in this race, and we're on the final lap. And this is good pressure cooker stuff at Sydney Motorsport Park.
Has he got anything for Lauke here? Talking of Cranston, the man who sits just up the road here in the little open wheeler. Unusual set of circumstances where you get an open wheeler fighting against sports cars. Here's this battle. Cranston saw the opening on the outside and went for it.
That was committed. Went real deep. For a moment, thought he might go around the pair of them. And then a little bit of side-by-side contact, which was fine. Nothing wrong with that. And Johnston had the line, and then this was coming out of the hairpin on the run-up into the final complex. A really good bit of driving from Cranston. And there was nowhere that Johnston could go there. So this is the final lap, remember, and this is the fight. Cranston has to get past Lauke. He has to beat him to the line. If he doesn't, Johnston will get second in the championship. There's Ianson. What a victory. Smoked him.
He finished that race pretty much last year. The way he's going at the moment, Ianson was way ahead. And here, this is it. This is the moment. He's got him. He's through to second on the last corner of the championship.
Great pass. Cranston goes through, but Lauke will have one final run. He's in the slipstream.
Oh!
He's out of the slipstream. Drag race, side by side. Lauke.
He got him back.
Just. It must have been a couple of centimetres.
Good racing. He got him back by all of about, 3 to 500ths of a second. There's nothing in it. How about that? A 10-lap race won by the better part of 20 seconds for Janssen. And somehow Cranston has his pocket pick on the line and loses second in the championship. And Peter Johnston back there in fifth. Wow, what a way to wind out 2016.
After a bad year in 2014 and then the season we had last year, it was really good. And it was really good to be able to capture the championship yesterday and then be able to have a good sleep last night and focus on how we could beat Mark Lauke today. We've had those dramas in the past and they always sit in the back of your mind, but what we knew after the first few days that the car was reliable, and so really at the end of it I had nothing to worry about.
So the championship picture for 2016, we know that Roger Janssen wrapped that one up in race one, but how close do you like it for second? Johnston getting the nod by one single point, but any one of those drivers down to fifth could have finished second here this weekend.
Great year of racing in the Australian Sports Racer Series. Well done, Roger Ianson, the champion, and all of our class winners for season 2016. A great year for the little sports cars on the Shannons Nationals program.